G'day, good evening, good morning. Hope you're well. Thank you for listening. This is a medical cannabis show, and I respect the law, and I hope you do too. The information provided is educational and for scientific purposes. That's fact-checked, and the slides I show are from university and they're current. And any papers that I discuss will be put in the description below. So if you're watching this back, there's no topic today. I'll wait for the viewers to arrive and have a topic, so that might take some time. And then if the stream only goes for 10 minutes, you know there was no topic. So it was, it just ended. So you can fast forward to look for the slides or for when this graphic on the page changes. And yeah, and I hope there's a show. We'll see, because it's all about the viewers. So if the viewers haven't got any questions, well, that's all right. Everything was happy for that week, I presume. So that's the way I see it anyway. So I'll give it till 2 minutes and think about something to chat about. We're at 1:20 now. Hopefully some folk will arrive and we can have a topic and discussion. Like Cloudscape Mysterio. There you go, mate. Sunshine's got some questions, eh? Righto. All right, that's cool. It says Cloudscape Mysterio. Very good. There's Raptor. G'day, Raptor. Nice to see you, mate. Hey, speaking of Raptor, before the show starts, it started, but you were talking about thrips a lot. I forgot to mention the biopesticides that you can get, and that's, I sent you a DM on Zoom. So cucumis is one that really works well. Cut a long story short. Hey, hello. Yes, we'll see if Sunshine arrives with some of those questions. Or somebody else can put some questions into it. It just doesn't have to be Sunshine. Yeah. All right. Well, there's no questions yet. Right. Someone had a problem with thrips. So there was a few suggestions about some bioinsecticides like metahisium and Bavaria. Those two genus, you can get different species within them. And I forgot to mention about, because that was a microbes topic, and I forgot to mention about the cucumis, which works, well, that's one of the ways I got rid of it, with Montarensis and cucumis, bioinsecticides. So they're little insects types things that it's hard to see. You can see them. And they go around and do their thing. And they hunt down a thrip larvae and pupae and things like that. And that's one of the ways I had luck. So the other things are good, but as good as a spray, like as good as an ethanol or, some sort of bad spray, that it's good to sum it up. Get rid of them. Hello, Blinky and kids. I'll be back after a quick shower. Righto, very good. Well, I hope there's a question. Think of some questions, because if there's no questions, the show won't be going for very long. Sunshine reckons he's got some questions, but he isn't around yet. And we're up to 4 minutes and 21 seconds. A good time. Okay. They're culturing metahisium next weekend. That's interesting. Metahisium is a beneficial fungus and raptors into the fungi. Actually, he's a bit of a specialist from what I see and hear from other people. He's got good knowledge in that area because of all these experiments that he's done. It's the best way. So that's cool. It'd be good to hear how you go with that. Try and duplicate it. And yeah, the fungus is different from culturing than the bacteria because it doesn't need, it needs moisture, but it doesn't need high amount of moisture, like as if water above 91% humidity for the bacteria to multiply. So the fungi are different mediums, not in water, in different petris and other types of substrates. You can put it in and multiply. Kelp meal, that was amazing. Hey, it's Shipwreck. G'day, Shipwreck. How you going, Shipwreck? Hey, did you have any luck with Nukin, Shipwreck? They come to mind through the week, and I thought, I haven't got any way of contacting you. You should get onto Zoom. That'd be good. Yeah. Well, Raptor was talking about culturing's metahism. I haven't done much in fungi, though. I've done a little bit, but I've only just played around with it with smidgen, and my education isn't high in it. Yeah, so I like to speak the truth. I don't like to make up stories or hear what other people have done. I just like to see what the results show, and then I can speak of that, and then I can show some of my university slides, and all of a sudden we've got some good input. Well, you know, some good media, I suppose the word would be. So I wonder if I can put anything up with culturing fungus. Do they like that? I'll see if I've got anything on culturing fungus. What would that be under? Microbes. Different medium. Fungi. Let's see what I got under fungi. She says, hey. Oh, okay. Yeah, excellent. I appreciate that a lot. Apparently the BC Bank might have it. And try to transfer it to malt extract agar. Oh, yeah. All very good. The different mediums mean different nutrition for the cells to multiply in. Hey, Lene, here you go. Gonna run up the road. Very good. I'm sure it'll be a good run. LOL. I'm just going to show some slides on some fungus because I don't remember I'm not a specialist in fungus like I am in bacteria. I can bloom tell you. Solicyte species. I didn't want to go to that outright. What have we got here? Stop sharing. Good at sharing. Mycorrhiza fungi. All right. Fungus means root. Okay. Latin. No, I'm not going to go into it. Different types of. There's internal and external fungi. So that's what that's talking about. They do different things because you want them working inside with the cells in the plant, and you're working outside with the different media to generate nutrition. Fungi have the following features: primarily terrestrial in the soil, bearing spores, eukaryotic cells, no chlorophyll, obtaining nutrients from heterotrophic absorbed ways. So different ways of absorbing it, they get their nutrients. In the past, scientists believe that the fungi were plants. However, they differ in two key ways. Fungi do not obtain energy from the sun, and fungi do not use CO2 as a source of carbon. They're like us. They respire CO2. Humans and fungi. Oh, no, I'm not going to go into that. General biology, fungi. See on the left here, that's yeast. And because in fungi there's yeast, and mold. And I know this is yeast because it doesn't have any hyphae sticking up, those little tiny hair-looking things. I'm not going to go into the classifications. That's what I was talking about. There's 7 main type of phyla and subphyla, like yeast, molds, fungi, fruit rotting fungi, truffles, fungi that cause severe disease in plants, and fungi that coexist with algae to form lichens. They're cool. Lichens only grow like a mil a year. All right. And then it breaks down a little bit further again. Very good. Testicles. No. It's not fungi. Looks like that's all. Okay, no, it's not fungi either. See, I told you I haven't done much on it. Bacteria feeding. It's in the wrong section. Oh, that's how you can test to see what type you have inside. If you've got some any type of stem, you cut any branch off from a tree or anything like that, and you want to see what's going on inside. Well, you dry it out, then put it into high humidity, and then whatever spores have. Actually, you'd have to keep it extremely sterile and clean. So you wash it first, and then you dry, wash it, and then dry it, and then you'd know that the spores that are germinating here, like this is green, so it'd be aspergillus, is going to be the ones that are inside of the plant, not the ones from the air or the ones that when you open your container. And you can see that's the little spores, little dots, ready to, once they reach that's the reproductive bit, once they reach their right moisture and temperature, they can germinate again. You can see in the middle they tried to germinate and they probably ran out of water. Oh, there's a bad fungus disease. Mold cysts. So it's on the side, there's little seeds again. Sitting there waiting to do it. So that's when you buy the those beneficial packets. They'll have the fungus in it, and that's what this will be. So they will have cultured it up, and they'll have got all the spores and the little cysts, and once they get in their right favourable conditions, they'll reproduce. And the ones that are mixed, they'll have bacteria in it too. So if you want to put that into a tea, these things will have water, so they'll germinate straight away, and then they'll die straight away because I have nothing to cling on to start their growth and development. So consider that if you've got your fungus in your beneficial bacteria, or if you're going to culture. Look at that healthy one. I'm sure I remember showing this a while ago. Yes, I do. Must have been talking on it. It would have been. So these are different plates of different species. You can see they're doing probably different genuses more so because they're doing some pretty rad things like the bioluminescent fungi. Pretty rad. Well, that's paper on a journey with. Righto. In Australia, it's legal to get prescribed medical psilocybin as long as you're extremely rich. And it usually germinates around 4 Celsius to 14 Celsius. So about 40 F to about 60 F. So you see that this area, that's what that temperature would have generally been in for them to flower. There you go, optimum culture medium for fungal growth. Here you go, Raptor. Finally, I can help you out, mate. So spore germination or mycelium. So if you've got a big white chunk, this is what you should use. Or if you've got spores, like shown before, or if in a packet or something, or maybe you can get them in syringes. That's how you do this. Use this graph, the one up the top. So this is for indoor air quality, dampness, and mold. Okay, look at how I spell mold. That's the British way of spelling it. Isn't that funny? So how do you interpret this? So the temperature is on the x-axis, and y is the relative humidity, and over here on the other y-axis is the days. Oh, and this one's in millimeters per day. That's pretty rad. Wow. So you can see its optimum temperature is up near 30 Celsius, or about 80 F, just over. And then below 10, what's that, 1 mil a day? What would you do? So you have to have 70 humidity? Oh, that's the blue line. So to get 1 mil a day, you'd have, that would be going off that line. Okay. So if you had spores, what does that mean? LIM. Limit? Minimum, maybe? Yeah, the limit? I don't know. I really don't know. Spore germination, I'm just trying to, how would I interpret this graph if you were trying to use it? It's the temperature response. So if you had it for 25 at room temperature, and then you had 85% humidity, you come across and you go, right, one day it should germinate. But if you've got 10 degrees Celsius with 85% humidity, it would take 2 days. And if it's got really low humidity, 75, it won't germinate. What's that saying? If it's 10, it'll take, oh, so 16 days to germinate. Wow, I hope I can confuse you. I did not stop talking. But yeah, that's how to go through it. What's the next one? There it is, aspergillus. That's harmful for humans to get in our lungs. You can get aspergillosis. It can be actually deadly. So be real careful if you've got the green one. And remember, it's only different species. So that's the genus Aspergillus, and it's only just different ones. But I don't know those ones. Yeah, that's what you don't want to see. Pythium. Oh yeah. Target it with. I use some trichoderma. It's beneficial. I use actually one of them. Trichoderma hasarium. I use that one, but there's another one that produces out hormones. Better off getting that species. But look how. So that would have just been in its favourable conditions. You can grow them anywhere. So the spore was right, temperature and the moisture was good, and it germinated. And now it's starting to fruit. Very rad. Yeah, touched on those before. I'm going to go into that because this was I did remember this on a few spurs ago. And yeah, the rad funky houses. The wilt you get. You can test. Oh, I support both, yes. All right, that'll do it. I should see if there's any questions and stuff. Holy mackerel, sorry about that. I haven't fruited mushrooms in a pot before. Oh, yeah, it says Raptor. Shepwreck says, I have a spent mushroom cake I was thinking about mixing into my pots. Yeah, for sure. It can also be a little bit alkaline, so it can benefit. So instead of like putting lime, as some people do, you can use mushroom compost. Raptor says, give it a shot. I'll at least feed the soil. Yeah, get it all nutritionally active first and sterile. I remember doing pasteurizing your substrate really helps, because if you haven't got a mycelium started and you're trying to inoculate, it can be difficult sometimes because being in competition with other ones. Practices also has a lot of nitrogen, so maybe add more peat moss. Oh yeah. Yep. All these things the fungus loves, but it doesn't want to be in competition. Is that all to? What else is there to talk about? Anything else that comes to mind? Please write in chat, because I talked about this fungus a few shows ago, so I didn't want to go into detail. But I spent 20 minutes on that one. On culturing fungus, it probably didn't really help much, but I don't want to say stuff that I haven't done or no experience about. One of my plant science course, that went heavily into culturing. I wonder if that has... So it was pretty interesting too. I didn't do that mushroom production course. I got lesson 1 on it. What's lesson 1? Let's see. Oh, no. I'm trying to look for something interesting to put up. Plant science, what is it? Course on tissue culture by plant cell bioprocessing. Yeah, MAMPs and SARS, yes. Study of azadirachtin. Doesn't really touch in the plant science. It went more into the bacteria. And plant cells. I'm struggling here a bit. Please whack in chat something, a question or a bit of direction for me. That would be appreciated. So fertility. No, I'm just not real good on this topic. Sorry about that. Organic farming, do they go into it? Let's have a look. I don't remember they did. They would have had just bio-fertilizers, biofungus, which I had a few shows ago. That was the title of the show. I'm lost. You're just looking at a blank screen listening to me. A few people that are listening. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what to talk about. Sunshine's missed because he had a few questions. I'll show you that the fungus, because I haven't shown it before. Lesson 1 on mushroom production. I'll just skim through this. So if you like it, you can just go back and pause it. What am I feeding? Evolution of the 5. Oh gosh, it goes right back that far. Can't just go down into it where the actual history of it. No, thank you. Some types. Why to grow it? No, we just would like to know how to grow it, please. Why to eat it? No, thank you. Yes, there are a lot of beneficials if you get the right one. They sequester what's in the earth, so be careful about medicinal mushrooms. Here we go. You can probably read back on this if you'd like. Some basic terms used in mushroom cultivation. Oh, let's go a bit faster. You can pause it if you want. Some questions. Quiz yourself. 5 steps in cultivation. Here you go. 3 steps in mushroom. What? Basic steps. Oh, okay, sorry. So spawn, substrate, and cropping. So what do? We need 0.5 kilo to 1 kilo of spawn to 100 kilos of compost in button mushrooms. Whereas in oysters, you need 2.5 kilos of spores. Oh, you need 5 kilos of spores to 100 kilos. You'll still get there. Doesn't really matter about the inoculation rate, because if you do it right, even a little tiny bit should multiply. There's some questions for you. Test yourself. 6 mushrooms, namely shiitake. There's going to be some expensive ones too. Exercise. Here's a prac for you to do. There's some more different ones. There's the answers for some of the questions that you would have gotten right. Or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's all a learning thing, isn't it? Sweet. There we go. I'm happy to have shown that. And I can name it mushroom production. Oh, there is a question. Hang on. Raptor asks, any update on how to grow algae organically? Oh. No. And that show a few shows ago that I was talking about, that was the high amount of NPK. That was the culturing fertilizer they were using to get the results. That wasn't a spirulina. Spirulina was, I put it in the notes in the slides underneath it. Spirulina was lower, but it was, let's have a look. So I kept that. Organics. I'll share it and show you. Yeah, cultivation using the 10-26-26, but its actual NPK of it is a lot lower, but good still. But it's also, what's in it is the tryptophan. That's a precursor to auxin, which is extreme, as that's a plant hormone in plants. So if you can get hormones, you know, athletes that have hormones, you know the results, what happens from them. So it's the same sort of thing. Why haven't I got the NPK? I remember it, reading something about it, because after the show I went through and read those papers that I was discussing online. That's when I found out that 10-26-26 was the culturing medium. And I thought, well, I've got to get this answer. What is the actual NPK of it? I've tried. Because wet was a little bit better. Oh, that's not going to bloom out. Why didn't I just put it in there? I should have just put it there. All right. I'll have to do that then. It's not quickly accessible. And that's that other big, massive, long paper on how to culture it. Yeah, that was put in the description as well. So I'll probably have to put this in today's description as well for going through it. But that's very useful if you want to culture it. But it was using an organic approach. This is a synthetic. So how can we do it and culture it using an organic approach? My answer to that is, well, there's 2 ways for the nutrients to be made available to the cell or the plant or whatever you want to feed it, whatever's feeding, and that's synthetic or organically. So it can be mineralized in a mineral form, or it can be immobilized. So the immobilized form needs to be broken down from some sort of microbe or fungus. And so after you get that result, so I'd have a fish tank, for instance, with, what would I put in there? I'd put in a lot of nitrogen fixing bacteria, and that would produce an NPK of, that'd be hard. So I'd have to put a culture medium in there and have an NPK, I'll say, what would it produce? Maybe depends how thick it got. So if it was really thick, Well, let's say talk about 500, or maybe a 510, because it might have some phosphorus in it because of all the DNA that's been produced and broken down. Because a lot of them are phosphorylized and solubilized in bacteria, those microbes. Some of the nitrogen fixing ones I use. So I'd have a fish tank with it, with some azos, for instance, and that would be producing that symbiotically, working with the water. And I'd have to match that up and make it last, put a batch culture in and make it last, so it'd be feeding that. And that would be turned organic, fair income. So then I could take some nitrogen out of that and put that into a bottle, and then it would be organic nitrogen. So for phosphorus, it'd have to be something, you'd have to put or you might be able to use microbes and break them down. So you'd have a microbe that has phosphatase in it, and then that would break down the phosphorus, making it available in the water. And then I'd call that fish tank the phosphorus mix, and et cetera, et cetera. What do you reckon about that? That's just off the top of my head, but that's the only way that I could possibly think of to do it organically without polluting your culture medium. Because you could go and put in, for instance, neem cake. You could go and put that in with something as a 5-3-3 or 3-2 or something, and that would just break down, and then it would sit on the bottom all the other organic matter it doesn't want. So it wouldn't keep it too clean. So to keep it clean, I think that's the only way I could think of to separately produce the elements. Maybe just the 6 primaries and not the secondaries, because your secondaries, you might be able to give it in trace element form, and it might be able to get it some easier way. Yeah, that's a pretty good question. It's a great question. I love those tough questions. They get me thinking about it when I'm like not here, doing other things. How could you do that? Hey, it's GMF. Let's say g'day. G'day, GMF. How you going, mate? Got anything to keep the show running today? We've had a bit of fungus culturing and organic microbe production. Yeah, I suppose, is that what you'd call it? Yeah, because it was related to that question. Because it's a hard question. Well, it's a hard question for me. To a person who's probably done it, they go, why this is blimmin' easy? Well, yeah, I love it though. That's the way that it should work. It wouldn't be pure organic, because there would be, well, it would be organic, but you would have had to put a carbon source in first to produce those secondary metabolites, or namely nitrogen. No, actually, it's not a secondary metabolite in azos because it's in their primary metabolism. I won't go too into it. The GMF says, "G'day, everybody. Hope you're feeling terrific. Cheers, cheers, cheers." Oh, yeah. All right. The algae questioned. I wonder if I could put, I'll see what happens if I put in organic algae production. See what comes up. See if there's something interesting here for it. Yeah, I'll share my screen. Wrong button. That's the wrong button too. Where is it? This one. So we're just looking at organic, that one. Organic algae production. The role of algae in organic production. Is that worded funny? 1963. Studies on algae substances in the sea of Australia organic matter. Well, that's what I'd be looking into. How they feed naturally in the environment. Extracted organic material, such as beds, is equivalent of 5 to 7 carbon meters squared per day. I'd be looking at what they made, how they were in their natural environment and mimic that. Like, well, actually how it happens is eutrophication, isn't it? Where you get your runoff from fertilizers, goes into ponds or to water bodies, and then all of a sudden you see it green. So it's a nitrogen source that really helps them a lot, and they can assimilate the chlorophyll. Anyway, let's get back to this. Organic production of marine algae is comparable to agricultural yields on land. Organic production by marine, what's that mean? By marine plankton algae. It's an old paper. Organic production by marine plankton algae is comparable to agricultural yields of what? I should read these first instead of doing this live, because it's, yeah, look at that. She's a smidge old. 60 blooming years. I don't want to, well, it might, and you still got to pay for it. All right, that's not very good. Algae and the potential for a future bioenergy, bioeconomy, landless food production, algae production, algal organic matter, no. Not even the search engine knows your question. Is that all that came up? Oh no, there's a few more. Characteristics in dissolved organic carbon. Organic fertilizer from algae. Yeah, fed to algae. What is it? Organic. In general. Algae as production. Because actually, you're talking about algae? Well, you said algae, wasn't it? Because I don't really, I culture optimism. Sludge. Release of dissolved organic matter by marine seaweeds. The total production. This isn't very good, is it? It's not even. Oh. Organic loading rate macro micro algae. Oh, algal substrates. Production of hydrogen. This one, increasing organic loading rate, micro and macro algae. Well, what do they feed it? Well, seaweed, kelp meal, humic acid, humus, fulvic acid. They would be the things I'd be looking into. I didn't, just from looking here. The seaweed meal, there you go, Raptor. Seaweed meal is, it's blooming good. It's higher than the neem, and it's got cytokinins in it too. So there you go. That's what I'd suggest. Raptor says there's a lot of research in an oil production for fuel sources. Yeah, because they pay for it, those oil mobs. You know, they got endless money, and they'll put a little bit back into, supposed to put 10% or 15% into your company for research and development, and they do, because they want to succeed. And so yeah, that's why there's a lot in wastewater, and that's why a lot of the microbes that are cultured are around those areas. But yeah, that's, so to answer that question, an update on how to grow algae organically would be your seaweed meal, liquid kelp. That's a great one. And then go from there. You could put a bit of blood and bone in for your phosphorus, potassium. You've got me a blank. You'll get organic amendments. So go down the organic amendments list and see which ones dissolve well. Actually, I made that video on how to make your own Oh, I don't know if I release. I don't know if I put that up on my channel. Let's have a quick look. I'm not sharing. I didn't list it. Okay, I can't talk about that then. That's a lot. What's right to say? Thanks. I've been scratching my brain about it. Oh, yeah, mad. Yep, well, let's go into a few more then. Righto, let's share the screen. I've got a couple more up here for you. Now we're in the right area. That liquid kelp got me in the right area. So plant-based amendments. So for culturing, the question is, that's the question. How to grow algae organically. So bat guano. So out of all of these things, you'd be looking through them and you'd be seeing which ones break down cleanly or which ones are more so water soluble. Because the water soluble ones have little, crap, So there's not going to be any organic matter or any sand or any textured material that you'd want. You want everything to be water soluble. For instance, green sand you wouldn't use as an but comfrey, you could use that comfrey powder and then maybe you'd put it through a sieve. So you'd soak it and then strain it. So you do that for a lot of these things. You'd manure. Manure is a rad amendment. So you'd put it in, just do that. Soak it in a bucket, put some manure in, and then strain it really well. And then you could put it through a sieve so it could go into a spray bottle even. So if it's cleaned enough to go into a spray bottle, you know it's clean enough to go into your batch cultures. So yeah, comfrey, compost, cover crops, they'd have very little on them. But remember, that's how GMF will know this one. That's how you start your kombucha with. There's a couple of green vegetables you get, and they got those particular Saccharomyces. And the other one, the other bacteria you want. And that's how they did it back in the day. Leaf mold. Well, that's a benefit. More items. Oh, okay, I just want to see a list. What about, you're really joking. Images is good. Looks pretty snazzy. Organic material. Oh, the heavy metals in them. Yeah, that's what you got to watch, is what else is in them. Because see, for sawdust, for instance, you'd be thinking, oh, cool, I'm going to get something with a massive high CN ratio, and it's going to neutralize my compost. But where was that produced? Was that from your backyard, or was that from heavy industry, which could have some cadmium or lead or other copper, different bad things in them? So you have to see where your organic sources come from too. So it's good to get things, you can get stuff from even zoos, but what are the zoos putting into their mixtures? They're putting in antibiotics and they're putting in different steroids and all sorts of things to fix the animals up. So their outputs are going to be bad. So that's where you can grab from this page, even though it's not real, just showing the bad things that could be in it as well. There you go. That was the reason for showing that. With some other examples, the different cakes that you have. So what they are is neem cake, for instance. That's all the seeds and maybe even the leaves. And once it's all crushed up and things like that, and they extract the liquid out of it, that's the things that's left afterwards. And that can be used as amendments. And neem cake is really good because it's also got an anti-feedant in it, which is a biopesticide type thing. The azadirachtin. What other organic, how could you grow algae organically? So what else things could you use? Carbon nitrogen ratio is very good. No. Farm manure compost. Vermicastings, sheep and goat manure, kangaroo manure, all sorts of manures. But you have to remember where you get them from. If you're getting it from the cow pasture, is that farmer, or like horses, for instance. They feed a lot of horses a lot of things, like tranquilizers and uppers and downers and antibiotics and all sorts of things. So that's a manure you can't use, or unless you know it's from your own horse. Just examples. I'm giving you examples so you can make up your own inputs on where to get it. Then after you get all these things, you could probably just soak them all in water and then extract that water. And then like even put it through a sieve and you just diluted it a bit more, but at least you've got rid of all of the materials and the heavy metals, because the heavy metals, they should soak to the bottom. And the lighter stuff would float to the top. But remember, you get some good flavonoids and things like that that float to the top that are very beneficial, antioxidants. What's the difference between soil fertilizers? Oh, look at this. Synthetic manufacturers, organic, manure-based, and soil amended compost tea based. Huh. You have to be careful with your teas. Remember, you know, it's only a shelf life of a few days because the oxygen is used up by all the microbes. Back to topic, organic inputs. Well, there's a few anyway. There's a few. They didn't have, no one's had kelp, liquid kelp on here, which is rad. I make it by, you can go down, oh, I don't remember that video. I wonder if I should show you that. Do you want to see the video? Farmyard manure. Yeah, work on your manure. Work on your inputs. That's what I do. All right, that's enough. I think I'm getting off track a bit here. That was really rad though. I'm glad we went down that route because that got the question answered. I hope. I reckon that was really good. You spoke to your vet. GMF says you spoke to his vet and he said a good 3 to 6 month outdoor composting will break down vermicides will break down. Oh, so any like pesticides and things like that, you reckon 6 months? It depends on the chemical. Some chemicals have half-lives way longer, you know, glyphosate. That can be around for ages if it's kept moist. But in general, aged manure is always better because it breaks down. It has a chance for the UV to get in and the oxygen to get in. So it doesn't, all the pathogens are not multiplied. Yeah. Yeah. So the aging of it does help a lot. I've used, yeah, you're running a risk of pathogens in fresh manure because it's just come out of that animal. And if that animal's got a disease or a problem, it's in that manure. So you're going to culture up that. So good advice, GMF. Thank you for that. Raptor says the worm castings makes perfect sense. Yes. Worm castings tea, vermicastings. That'd be good to feed it. I don't have any of that going at the moment. That'd be interesting for me to tip that into my platensis, my spirulina that I have, Athrospira platensis, and see if I can get any growth on it. Mind you, keeping in mind temperature is a thing too, because nitrogen assimilation goes right down with temperature. Once it's in, for instance, the southern hemisphere, and it's below 10 degrees Celsius, the chances of any growth is so limited because of nitrogen assimilation. So, yeah. Oh, look, here we go. Alfalfa. Raptor says, I'd imagine alfalfa would work too. I reckon it would work brilliant. Alfalfa meal is high in nitrogen, and it's actually got a couple of other primary. The NPK is a, what is it on? Oh. Alfalfa meal is 312 on the NPK. So yeah, if I was going to feed my culture alfalfa meal and organic input, I would dilute it first. Because see, that's the thing is, it's got 312 in it in the alfalfa meal, but that's mineralized. No, sorry, that's immobilized. So it's held up in the cellulose in the plant material itself. So that's going to be broken down to be made mineralized and available. So if I was going to feed my culture it, I'd probably soak it for a while and then extract the liquid from it. And that would be a diluted version of what the parent is. And then I wouldn't end up with any bottom stuff in it, you know, organic matter or, well, cellulose and hemicellulose and lignin. That's what's in the plant cell walls. So you wouldn't end up with that floating or in the bottom. It's a terrific topic, though. So yeah, alfalfa would work if you had a big swimming pool and you're trying to do it outdoors, grow algae outdoors. You could put it in like the chlorine filter, or in a stocking, or you know, when you do it worm tea or something, you can put it in stockings. What's that thing I put it in? I don't put it in. I just scoop it on the bottom. But people that don't want messy things in their liquid, because I strain my liquids afterwards, so I don't really care what goes in. But you can put it in. I started to do it. Was it just or stocking, some sort of cloth or some sort of material that's going to hold back most of the organic matter inside so it doesn't get mixed in. But instead of doing that, just strain it. It's heaps blooming easier. And then you're going to get a good mixture. That's what I do. You don't have to do that, but that's what I do. So yeah, the extracting the immobilized elements is the key. So by having microbes that have nitrogenase to get the nitrogen out and the phosphatase to get the phosphor out, those enzymes, that's how it gets released out of material. Yeah. Next question. I hope that helps. I don't know how to elaborate anymore. But yeah, worm castings could be even easier because they've got an NPK rating that's valuable. It's not a 0.1 point something, or if it is, it's high. It's something near the 1 anyway. So they've got a NPK that's useful. So you'd extract your worm tea, put it through a bubbler for 24, 30 hours just to make sure all the anaerobic cells aren't reproducing and they've all died off. And then I'd put it in feed it organically. Another one. It's terrific. All this help. See, we've all helped each other. That's been really cool. You've helped me get onto the topic that, not to the top, you have helped me get to the topic, and you've helped me reach the conclusion of that hard question of the organic feeds for cultures. Yeah, good stuff. It's 55 minutes already. Look at there's the show. Wow, you've made a show again. Congratulations for helping. You've helped me a lot. I can put a show, so it's going to be. So get your questions out now, or you get your statements or anything out now because we've got a 30-second delay before it gets to me. And today can be titled about mushroom cultivation and organic inputs or organic inputs for culturing. Yeah, I suppose that sounds pretty good. What do you reckon? Well, Raptor said a paint strainer is what I've seen used for filtering worm and compost tea. Oh yeah, an old cotton t-shirt works well too, he says. You're going to laugh at this. I just use a rice strainer, a mesh one. So a pasta strainer has a few holes in it, but the mesh strainer, and then the strainer I use for my spray bottles is a coffee tea percolation thing. It's stainless steel, so when it gets organic matter into it, I can burn it to get rid of it and sterilize it again. So I'll put that on the top. I'll get the little round coffee stainless steel filter, and that sits on top of my spray bottle, and I just pour my liquid in, and then it filters it out. And I do that every time and I haven't had a clogged spray bottle for ages. Holds a couple of litres, half a gallon. And I should got to do a bit of inoculation today with it. So I'll be doing the same again, making up a couple of batches and micro batches of how I want those microbes to work, and put them in their right environment and get it happening. So yeah, the filtering is really rad. It gets rid of all the rot, because you want to keep your culturing mediums very sterile as possible to not have any possible contaminants, because you don't know if one pathogen or something's going to get in and it's going to multiply faster than what yours are multiplying, because it only needs a few things to keep the cell to multiply. So it's the less stuff you put in, the more chances of success. Yes. So straining it is really good. And a paint strainer. What's a paint strainer? I'm trying to picture one. All right, let's have a look. I'll just show you. Paint strainer. P-A-I-N-T. Now I'll share the screen. Images. Oh, yeah. Yeah, mine's just a smaller one. Get back and share the screen. There we go. Paint strainer. So yeah, the metal ones. I don't know how fine the mesh is in the middle, if it's going to pick up. And the stainless steel's the go, because having the stainless steel ones, you can burn them. They're rad. And that's for cleanliness. You can sterilize them virtually. Get a flame underneath the bottom of it before you put it on top of your container, and then it's sterile, or is pretty sterile. Everything's probably landed back on top of it, but you killed a lot of the things that were already there. See, I wouldn't worry about this. Definitely don't go with paper or anything. Always sustainable. Just spend a smidgen more and get one of these. A stainless steel one. Order it online, wait a couple of weeks. But yeah, see, they got filter bags you can put over too, but they're only they're one use. It's not sustainable. Protect the earth. But yeah, that's a rad idea for another filter. What about my coffee? I'll show you a little coffee machine. Ah, that's not what it looks like. I don't drink coffee, but that's what it come out of. It looks like that. It's not like that. It's got a mesh in the bottom. I'm glad I looked at this. It's not that. It's domed. It's kind of like this. All right, domed. D-O-M-E-D. Domed. That's not how you spell domed. Yeah, at least I gave you a laugh, hey? Yeah, you have to see what's going to get through That looks pretty fine. That might be too fine, actually, just looking at that. But anyway, that gives you an idea. You want to filter your stuff. Filter your inputs so the outputs aren't contaminated. Raptor says, honestly, I just dump it all in on the substrate, extract and material. Yep. Yep, that's cool. And look, we've just hit the hour mark. Well, that's going to be it for this week. I appreciate everybody for writing, and especially for people for listening and trying. That's the main thing. Because I try too. I try for you guys and girls just to try and create some sort of show that has good education into it, that's fact-checked, and that you can rely on. And I don't want to put out things that aren't correct, because we don't like that misconception and that there's no need for it. We'll just speak from experience and see what the papers have and some of my uni slides, and that makes the show. I think today was all right. She reckons good stuff, man. Yes, thanks, mate. I reckon too. So if you've got your questions, you're going to have to save until next week. Hope you enjoy the Olympic Games. Go Australia and go Canada. Yeah, and that's it for this week. So I'll leave it, the stream go for 30 seconds after I say bye, just to post if there's anything up. Otherwise, I'll speak to you next week. Yes, thank you. It's appreciated too, everybody turning up and trying their bit too, because I know it takes time out of people's lives, valuable lives that we have. It's numbered too. Thanks heaps. So I'll see you next week, everybody. Happy breeding, happy growing, and good health to you all. Bye-bye. Congrats on Germany going legal. Oh, should have said that at the start. Jeez, Australia. Fair income. Actually, it was in the politics this week. I saw on the news in New South Wales where the the Premier there, he said, everyone's saying, legalise cannabis, why not, blah, blah, blah. He says, well, that was one of my things when I got into power, that I said I wouldn't do it, and I'm not going to do it. So good luck, Australia. And congrats to Germany. Thanks, mate. All right. Yeah, it's pathetic. Yes. But that's why I get into politics, because I want to keep the stream positive and happy. Congrats to Germany. Happy breeding, happy growing, and good health to you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.